Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Decluttr Me podcast with myself, Shalina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. I'm so thrilled to have you here, whether you're a newcomer or have been listening for a while. Thank you so much for tuning in. It truly does mean the world to me. Your support allows me to share my passion for decluttering and organising every week, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to help you create a clutter-free and organised home. I'd love to reach even more people with this mission, so if you enjoy the podcast, please hit follow, subscribe or like button on your podcast player and share it with your friends and family, and let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment or leaving a review, which will be even more awesome, and I can't even say it properly. Today I wanted to share something really insightful with you. 16 things that I, as a professional organizer, never buy. These are the little pitfalls and traps I've learned to avoid over the years. By steering clear of these items, you can not only save money, but also keep your home clutter-free and beautifully organised. So let me have a chat with you about what you can do differently to maintain that serene, organised space that you've been dreaming of. So let's start off first with bulk storage bins. These bins can quickly become a dumping ground for miscellaneous items, making it hard to remember what's inside. I and other organisers prefer using small, clear storage solutions that allow you to see the contents at a glance. Instead of hiding things away in massive containers, this keeps everything easily accessible and categorised. The approach is to avoid clutter build-up and promote a more streamlined space. So this also applies to, those big wicker baskets that people get and then leave them in the living room. They just become a dumping ground with, loads of things inside. So really don't recommend them. Next, let's talk about the clear plastic bins and baskets. So they might seem budget friendly, and you see them in places like the dollar stores, the Daiso, Amazon, Temu, which I've tried out once. Once was enough, I think. But a lot of these cheap baskets and bins and containers are really thin. They're really thin plastic and they lack the durability. They crack, they warp, especially with heavy use. And it just leads to frustration and like a waste of money. And then you have to go buy a replacement. I prefer buying high quality, durable materials like, the heavy plastic. So you can get them in IKEA. They have these white boxes called Verera. No, they're called something else now. Upendra or something. And they're thick. Now you can get the same ones in other stores, but they're much thinner and you can feel it. So you want to buy things that are durable, heavy plastic or metal containers that stand the test of time and also add a touch of style to any space. So think about that when you're buying these things. Make sure that you buy things that are long lasting and quality material. The same applies for hangers, which I'm going to talk about, but there are velvet hangers that you can buy now, which are much, much cheaper than other ones. But they break, they crack and brittle. So for any storage solution, make sure you buy things that are durable and that can last for a while. Number 3 is the duplicate tools and gadgets. So that's whether it's kitchen utensils, tools, cleaning supplies, duplicates can quickly add up. I've learned to stick with one good version of each item, and that helps to keep the clutter in check. Having duplicates often leads to confusion and a waste of space, so I only buy what I truly need. And I find this often with people who have like multiple potato peelers and apple corers and things like that. I just don't understand why you need to have so many. Just have one, or if your husband's very difficult, have another one for him. But try to not have as many duplicates. Next, let's talk about the excessive gift wrap supplies. So, I know someone who has an entire closet just devoted to gift wrapping and they love gifting. And it's nice to have options, but if you have too much, it takes up valuable time. And you can get those organisers to fit all of them in, but that's bulky as well. If you only use one gift wrap, just use that and don't use anything else. Like, a few bags, or you can reuse gift bags and wrapping cloths whenever possible as well. So try to limit how much you use. And if you only like one wrapping paper, why buy loads of others? Like, I just don't. Yeah, it just takes up space. Next, let's talk about trendy organising products. So these often look appealing and, you see them on TikTok and Instagram and they look amazing. and so practical, but they're not practical for long-term use. So, you'll see that organisers are really cautious about adopting new trends, and they try and, use the tried and true solutions that are versatile and functional. And so focus on products that work in real life scenarios rather than those that are popular on social media. I do buy new organising products if I see them and I think that they might be useful for clients, but I try them out first and then see if they're good or not. And if they're not good, I will tell everyone on social media. And also bear in mind that what works for one household might not work for another household. So that's the thing to consider about space, what the product is, how it utilizes. You want it to maximize space and create more simple, organized space, systems that can be maintained. So there's no point having popular products if they don't work for your home. Next, let's talk about one size fit all storage solutions. So you can get that in furniture stores, and they rarely meet your unique needs of different spaces. So, I would rather you get something that's customizable to suit your specific requirements. Now, there is a cost involved in that. So if it's not possible, if you live in a rental and it's not possible, you can get these, but make sure that they are something that can be adjusted in a way. So, places like IKEA, they have things that can be adjusted, can be changed to fit the space in people's homes. So look at that. It's a cheaper option than getting, a bespoke item, but it will be more practical for you. And also make sure if you do buy this furniture that they have built-in shelves that are adjustable, because there's a lot of these storage solutions that don't have adjustable shelves or adjustable units. And as we're talking about shelves, can I talk about shoe shelves on a slant? Because there's so often a problem, especially for high heels. Like carpenters build them. The slant is too slanted. So it'll be like this. Christian Louboutin heels can't slant on that heel. They're already slanted enough, and then they fall off or fall in front. It's just a mess. So when you're getting anything and it's got a slant, like for shoes or for boxes and stuff, make sure it's got like a ledge on it, or that it's not slanted. Let's not get slanted shoes, shelves if possible. Get them straight so you can utilize the space and maximize the space more. And also, I've seen people have shoe shelves built and it doesn't actually fit the shoe, especially for men. Like they haven't accommodated for how big the men's shoes are, like his feet, how big his feet are. It's like, it's been tried. One time the shoe cabinet was half the size of his feet. Like it was that narrow, and he was mad at me for not being able to put the shoes in. And I'm like, well, I didn't design this. Like your designer should have looked at it. But anyway, there's so many pitfalls. And I have talked about this before, but I'm reiterating it again. So no slanted shelves, and make sure it fits what you need to fit into those shelves. Next, let's talk about hangers. And, I have talked about hangers before. I will put the link up to, you can hear me talk about hangers for a whole podcast episode. But cheap hangers can damage clothing and create a really disorganized closet. As I said before, I really recommend in high quality hangers like velvet hangers or wooden ones. Now, the velvet ones, there are now more of them available in the market. There are really cheap ones you can get on Amazon, and there are a bit more expensive ones. Don't get the really cheap ones. They break instantly. They're brittle. They break as soon as you take the clothes off. It's you can see the quality. I can feel it when I'm working with them. Wooden ones look great in pictures, but you don't need so many wooden ones because they take up a lot of space. They're bulky, and they make the rod really start drooping because it's so heavy. So I like to use velvet hangers for dresses, tops, trousers, all those kind of things. And then wooden ones just for blazers and coats and suits. So there are specific hangers for specific things. And as I said, I've got that on a podcast episode you can listen to. So have a listen to that and you'll find out everything. But please don't buy cheap hangers and like those cheap plastic ones, they're awful. Please don't buy them, please. They're just rubbish. They're terrible. Sorry. I'm just being my normal blunt self. Next, let's talk about the overly complex organizing systems. So these are so difficult to maintain, which leads to frustration and disorganization. Like, I favor simple, easy to use systems that require minimal upkeep. Now, the key thing is Minimal upkeep. I can't be asked to do anything if it's going to take a lot of time. I ain't got time in my life to be doing a lot of things. So we need it to be minimal, simplistic. Simplicity is key to everything, especially long-term organization. So keep your systems really simple and easy to maintain. Don't get anything really complicated because you'll just get annoyed with it. Number 9 is knickknacks and trinkets. So they often add to clutter when you're enhancing a space. And I also have another episode about that, which I will put in the show notes. And, yeah, it looked great on holiday when you went to Seychelles and you saw that shell, which says Seychelles on it. But what are you going to do with it when you bring it home? It's just going to be a dust collector. So buy things if it's useful and it's going to bring a purpose to your life and to your home. Like I do buy things sometimes on holiday, mostly food, but once in a blue moon I buy something. Pictures. I buy pictures because if it's a beautiful piece of art, I will bring it and it will remind me of the place I went to. But knickknacks, especially the knickknacks that say they're from the country, but actually they're made in China, they're not worth it. And they just become dust collectors. So just be mindful of those items and choose pieces that have meaning or serve a functional purpose to avoid the unnecessary clutter. Next, I want to talk about something which is a bit off the mark, but large office supply purchases. So, and people buy them for their own homes, not just like for offices. And buying office supplies in bulk leads to overstuffed drawers and crowded desktops and cupboards. Just buy what you need and regularly declutter things to make it more manageable. And it'll just make sure that you have a clean and efficient workspace as well. And I always say, like, you can so easily buy stationery and anything really now from online. It'll come within a day. Or you can buy it from shops. Like there's a supermarket or a shop around the corner everywhere. So unless you live in Timbuktu, and I'm sure Timbuktu has a supermarket as well. So you don't have to buy in bulk nowadays. So if you don't have to buy in bulk, especially for office supplies, don't, because it's just a waste of space and waste of time. And if you have an office and you're buying lots of office supplies, people are just nicking it and then just having millions of pens in their desk and stuff, or pencils. They love pencils. So the less you have, the less it'll be taken. Next is decanters, and specifically round decanters. Now, loads of clients over the years have wanted to start decanting. I am half a fan of decanting and half a fan of not decanting. And a lot of them, the clients, will choose round jars with the bamboo lids. And it looks pretty. And I know there are photos of it that I have put on my Instagram. It is a thing. I can't say no if they want it. But the thing is, round decanters don't utilize the space fully. They take up space. The square ones, like you can get from stores, a lot of them are not glass, which is the problem. They're like that BPA plastic, which is supposed to be good. But they're square, so they take up the room properly. They utilize the space properly. Whereas with round, you lose the space. Square ones maximize the space, properly. So if you want to decant and you want to put things in containers, do that. Get round don't get round decanters. Get square containers. Also, you don't need a container for every kitchen product that you buy, like for every food item. Especially if you don't buy it often. So I have decanted pasta because they're in those ridiculous bags which always end up popping open. So I put everything in jars. Also, I put coffee and tea because I drink a lot of tea and I drink a lot of coffee every day. So they're all in jars, and spices as well. But that's because I do it and I use it. And with spices, I don't buy a lot. I buy a little amount and fill it into these jars. So that's my decanting. And I can be asked to do that. That's about all I can be asked to do. But, a lot of people want to decant all the food items and then they forget they have them. They don't put the best before date on them and things like that. It's just not worth it. Just do it for the key things that you want to decant. Talking about containers, let's talk about those Tupperware containers, and you can get huge matching sets, especially from one store which will remain nameless, which has got the same color lid but like millions of different containers in different sizes, and it's so annoying. But you don't use them all. Like it's buying large sets is so unnecessary. Purchase only containers that you need and are going to use efficiently, because it takes up less space and it prevents unused containers contributing to the clutter. So you can buy glass containers with lids like Pyrex or IKEA, and then they stack properly and neatly as well and nest properly. So they're just ideal rather than getting these whole big massive sets of 30 of them when you're not going to use 30 of those containers. I mean, unless you're a massive household. Also, as we're talking about these Tupperware containers, let's talk about mismatch containers, because that's a problem as well, especially when storing them. If they're not like the right size, they fall, they come off the cupboard, they make a mess. It's just more clutter. So if you have mismatched ones and they've stained or just look old, you can declutter them. You get rid of them. Next, let's talk about specialized single-use tools. Now, I've talked about this on various episodes before. I think I even talked about it last week. But they quickly clutter up drawers and cabinets. So it's those avocado slicers and not potato peelers, they're useful, banana slicers and stuff. You can use a knife. I prefer, and most organisers are saying, to use multifunctional tools or a knife. Knife covers a lot of things, and you can perform several tasks with one thing, like a knife, instead of numerous gadgets. So it'll not only save you space, but also will simplify your daily tasks. So yeah, don't get the little gadgets. You might see them on TikTok and they look amazing, or somebody will go, Amazon fine, and I found this thing to chop bananas. There's a new container that you use and it chops bananas, and just put it around like that. Yeah, no, get a knife. Just use a knife, please. Okay. Next, decorative boxes and bins. So they may look appealing, but they quickly become like catch-alls for random items, or they look decorative and everything, and then they don't go with the aesthetic, and then you throw them into a corner because they don't go with what you want, or they have frills and stuff, and you're like, why have I got frills? Frills on my boxes. So yeah, they look great for a while, but no. So I prefer transparent, or those white kind of boxes, especially if you get anxiety looking at a lot of stuff in the box and it's not all uniform, then get white boxes. So either of those containers, make sure it's not slanted, but it makes sure that it's easy to see and you can access it. And if you get ones with lids, that's good, for things you want to cover up and everything. So yeah, get those kind of bins. But as I said, don't get slanted ones or tapered ones because they take up, precious shelf space. Wicker baskets might look pretty in pictures, but they get snag clothes. If they're in the pantry, they pick up bugs really quickly, and then the bugs go into your food. And if they're in the bathroom, they mold really easily. So I don't really recommend wicker baskets. Living room, they're fine. But if you're in a villa in, say, Jumeirah or something, and loads of ants come in, they'll go into the baskets. So that's all I'm saying. Also, if the box or bin is heavy, it's not practical for everyday use. So think about that when you buy them as well. As we're talking about bins and boxes, let's talk about those toy organisers, which have got slanted bins, or the tilted bins, like the tilt, and it looks really clever when you see them online. It's such a great idea because then you think, the kids are going to be able to see the toys and make a mess and all that. But no, those bins are often small, plus they're on a slant, so the toys fall onto the floor, or even worse, the box falls off the slant. And there's been many a time those bloody boxes have fallen off the slant when I've tried to organise them. So yeah, I don't recommend those toy organisers with tilted bins. There's a great system called Fast in IKEA, which has been going on for decades. Now that's a great unit, even though it is slightly slanted in the boxes, but they fit perfectly. You can get ones that are now a nice brown colour with white bins. You can label the bins. It's great. I would recommend that rather than these open tilted bins. Last of all, we're going to talk about sales. So I've talked about sales before. I've had podcast episodes, which I'll put in the show notes. They're so tempting. And, you see the item, and it's on sale. And you're like, wow, that's amazing. But it just often leads to clutter. Most organisers will tell you they resist the urge to purchase sale items unless they have a specific need for them. So this disciplined approach will prevent you buying unnecessary items and from taking up space and creating clutter. I do buy on sale. I'm not going to say I'm not. First of all, I'm cheap. I'm brown. We like a good sale. We like a good bargain. But I buy what I need. So I bought a new pair of jeans, which I'm wearing right now. And they were on sale. They were from my favorite brand and they were like a third of the normal price. They were so cheap and they were a beautiful blue color. So I bought it and I'm wearing it already. So if it's going to be useful, buy it. But if it's just you're buying it just for the sake of it being on sale and you're like, oh my God, it's on sale. Or you go to Brands for Less or TK Maxx or what do you call it in America? TJ Maxx? You call it something. It's not TK Maxx like in UK. But you go to those stores and you're like, oh my God, it's so cheap. Yeah, everything is cheap in there. But do you need it? I mean, do you need another pair of trainers that you're not going to wear? Like, think about that. It's clutter. So these are the things I don't say, I put this into the thing, but it's not something I never buy, but it's something I try not to buy much. So that's it for today's episode. I hope my insights and tips for what organisers never buy will help you make smarter choices for a clutter-free life. And remember that organising is not about making rash decisions. It's about making intentional choices that will serve your space and your lifestyle. If you have any questions or want to share your success stories, feel free to reach out on social media or through the website. I love hearing from you and seeing how these tips are making a difference in your life. Thanks so much for listening again. If you do love, please press the like and share it with your friends and family. Until next week, have a lovely week. Take care. Bye.